Good afternoon. Did you know that approximately 80% of the food in our grocery markets have one or more genetically modified ingredient? Genetically modified foods are nearly impossible to avoid anymore. According to the Food and Drug Administration, genetically modified plants like corn, canola, soybean, and even cotton are typically used to make ingredients that are then used in other food products. In this speech, I will inform you of the basics of genetically modified food and provide a greater understanding as to what you and your families are putting into your bodies. The main points I will cover in this speech are, first, define what genetically modified food is and how it is modified. Second, I will explain how it affects your food. Third, I will inform you of how genetically modified foods have been beneficial to the consumer. Lastly, I'm going to share with you the concerns of genetically modified foods and why many people are concerned. First, let's go over what genetically modified food is. According to the World Health Organization, genetically modified foods are foods that are derived from organisms whose genetic material DNA have been modified in a way that does not occur naturally through the introduction of a gene from a different organism. It involves the mutation, insertion, and deletion of genes. The inserted gene usually comes from a different species, virus, or a bacteria. The DNA penetrates the cell membrane, changing the whole dynamics of the genetics. Furthermore, genetic modification of our food has been going on since the mid-1990s. So, how does genetically modification affect your food? I'll give you a few examples. Soybeans have been genetically modified to survive applications of herbicides that would normally destroy an organic soy plant. Genetically modified tomatoes, they don't rot as quickly as regular tomatoes do, so they can tolerate longer periods of transportation in the big trucks. They also can be left to mature on the plant or the vine longer, rather than being picked green. This results in a more tasty tomato that doesn't need to be stored until ripening. Golden rice has been genetically modified to contain large amounts of vitamin A. And finally, although not approved for our dinner tables yet, salmon genes are currently being genetically modified with a growth hormone that causes the fish to grow 2 times its normal size in nature. This enables the fish farmers to increase their profits significantly. So now that you're familiar with some basic facts, let's talk about some of the pros of genetically modified foods. The health research funding states plants and animals that have been genetically modified can become more resistant to unexpected problems of disease. Think of it as a vaccination for a plant or an animal, except that the vaccine or the vaccination is encoded into the genetic makeup instead of a shot given to the immune system. There's also a better overall quality of taste. Through the modification, flavors of our food have been enhanced. Peppers become sweeter and spicier instead of bitter. Corn has become sweeter, and foods that are unpalatable have become more palatable. There's also some nutritional benefits. Genetically modified foods can have vitamins and minerals added to them through genetic modification to provide greater nutrition benefits to those who eat them. This is especially common in developing countries who don't always have access to needed resources to maintain optimal health. Now, let's discuss some of the cons or the concerns. Environmental damage is big. By growing plants or raising livestock in environmental conditions that normally wouldn't support them, there is potential for irreversible damage. This is often seen through GMO crossbreeding. Weeds, for example, can be cross-trained with GMO plants that become resistant to herbicides, creating the need for more effective genetically modified efforts. According to the Blue Ribbon Foods, a study was done by Brown University finding a problem with allergic reactions. Genetic modification often mixes or adds proteins that weren't indigenous to the original plant, causing new allergic reactions to the human body. The United States does not require labeling of these genetically modified foods, and the long-term consequences of genetically modified foods on our health and our environment have not adequately been investigated. So there's clearly a whole lot more we could discuss on this issue of genetically modified food. A whole lot more. We're barely scratching the surface. It's uncertain if the benefits outweigh the unknown in the circumstances. But I'm not here today to persuade you one way or the other, merely just to give you facts, and you can do your own research. But now that you're familiar with some of the basics of genetically modified foods and how our food is modified, and the benefits thereof and the concerns, understanding them in turn will help keep you better educated and enable you to do and make better choices for you and your family. As Kofi Annan quoted, "Knowledge is power, information is liberating, education is the premise of progress in every society and in every family." Thank you for watching.